da-da, zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. My, oh my, what a wonderful day.
Danny DeVito is an American actor, director, and producer who has been delighting fans with his multifaceted talent and sparkling humor for almost half a century. He can handle both charming comic characters and deep dramatic roles. In this video, you're gonna learn more about this charismatic actor and a very extraordinary personality. Danny DeVito, how Schwarzenegger's twin lives and what he spends his millions on. Daniel Michael DeVito Jr. was born on November 17, 1994, in the small American town of Neptune, New Jersey. The boy's parents, immigrants from Italy, were simple people and far from the world of art. His father tried himself as a pastry chef and businessman, opening first a laundry, then a billiard room, and later a barber shop. In the end, he settled on the latter and focused all his efforts on it. Given the continuity of generations, which is accepted in traditional Italian families, there was no doubt that Danny Jr. would become a hairdresser. After graduating from a good Catholic school and studying to be a hairdresser, the young man took up scissors and a comb in the family business. The co-owners of the beauty salon were another family with whom the DeVitos were close friends, and one day, old Aunt Nicholson told Danny about her nephew who had become a big actor. The young man took an interest and soon had time to go to the cinema, where he enjoyed watching Roger Corman's Little Shop of Horrors with brilliant Jack Nicholson. After the movie, he came out a different person. He had a dream to become an actor. However, the guy had no prerequisites for this. He was extremely short, only 4'10", and his physique was far from perfect. During his school years, his classmates bullied him, and his parents constantly took him to the doctors, trying to identify the cause of this abnormality. They found no disorder at the time, and only as time passed, the cause was revealed. Danny suffers from a rare genetic disorder which impairs bone growth. Nevertheless, neither his short stature nor his weight prevented him from charming his peers with hilarious jokes and chilling horror stories that were particularly successful. Realizing the absurdity of his desire to become the second Nicholson, the prudent DeVito decided to approach his goal from another angle. He enrolled in the makeup courses of the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, the program of which also included acting. After graduation, Danny went to Hollywood, where for 2 years he tried to get at least some role, storming endless auditions during the day and working as a guard at night. Success struck the persistent guy after he decided to leave the Dream Factory and went to Connecticut to work at the Eugene O'Neill Theater Center. There, he met Michael Douglas, with whom he became good friends and even shared a rented apartment in Manhattan for a while, for which they each paid $75. Douglas was the one who eventually helped him get to the big screen. Danny DeVito's first role was in the 1970 film Dreams of Glass. However, the debut was followed only by small roles in such films as Lady Liberty and Scalawag. So the aspiring actor decided to focus on stage productions on Broadway. Only in 1975, Michael Douglas offered Danny a role in the film adaptation of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And with the fee from this work, DeVito bought himself a small house with a swimming pool, which he dreamed of so much.
All right, now each one of us has got a fish. What are you laughing at, Martini? You're not an idiot? Huh? You're not a goddamn loony now, boy. You're a fisherman.
For him, the film became not only a springboard into the big cinema, but also proof that any dream is achievable if you believe in yourself, work hard, and use your intuition. It was his intuition that prompted him to accept a role in the television series Taxi, which Jack Nicholson tried to talk him out of. For the role of the grumpy dispatcher Louis De Palma in 1980, DeVito received a Golden Globe Award and a year later an Emmy and got a whole army of fans.
Hey, Tony, you get creamed in your fight last night? What's it like having a cauliflower back? I didn't get creamed. I lost on a decision.
I'm impressed.
By the way, Danny had a lot of female admirers, but his heart was taken a long time ago by American actress Rhea Perlman. They met in the theater. He was playing on stage, she came as a spectator, and after the performance, they were introduced to each other by a mutual acquaintance. Danny was delighted. First of all, the girl was not much taller than him, and second of all, they immediately bonded, as if they had known each other for years. After a couple of weeks, Rhea moved in with him, and in 1982, the couple legalized their relationship. A year later, the family had a baby, which made the happy father give up work for a year, devoting all his time to the care of his newborn daughter, who was named Lucy Chet. 2 years later, their second daughter, Grace Fan, was born. Meanwhile, DeVito's filmography was replenished with the films Going 8, Terms of Endearment, and in 1984, the actor starred in the film Romancing the Stone, which had a significant success at the box office and collected a number of prestigious awards.
It's a piss-poor idea. It's nothing but trouble. Look, we've stolen enough of these antique trinkets to keep us living comfortably for the rest of our lives. Let's kiss off this third world toilet.
This was followed by roles in the comedies Johnny Dangerously, The Ratings Game, Head Office, Wise Guys, the adventure film The Jewel of the Nile, and the voice acting of the cartoon My Little Pony, the movie. The audience also appreciated DeVito's brilliant acting in the comedy Ruthless People, in which he co-starred with Bette Midler.
Compassion and mercy? What the hell's going on over there? I thought you people were ruthless.
We are, Mr. Stone.
But then what's this phone call about?
In 1987, the actor played in the comedy Tin Men and took part in the crime comedy Throw Mama from the Train, in which he was engaged not only as an actor, but also for the first time tried himself as a director.
Crisscross, like in the movie. Done.
Owen, what the hell did you do to my wife?
I don't want to say on the phone. All I can tell you is that I killed her last night.
The professional debut was accompanied by a very pleasant family event. Danny and Rhea had a son, Jake Daniel. Danny was absolutely delighted with children. They gave him meaning in life. He enjoyed the coziness, the family celebrations, the fun. This was not hindered even by the fact that he and Rhea practiced different religions, and by their own admission, the only things forbidden in the house were melancholy and bad mood. And a year later, Danny's filmography was replenished with a real masterpiece. The comedy Twins revealed the comedic talent of one of the toughest actors in Hollywood, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, money talks and bullshit walks.
How can bullshit walk? That's slang, huh?
Yeah.
It should be mentioned that the organizational part of filming was very stressful because of the terrible rush and desire to get Danny and Arnie to participate in the project. Universal Studio officials had to sign contracts with agents of actors at the table in a restaurant right on the napkin. Later, the sentimental DeVito even put it in a frame. By the way, the actor is very superstitious. He is known to always carry the same handkerchief as a talisman and is almost always dressed in black. The problem with Twins was not only the lack of time, but also in finances. The studio did not have enough money to pay the actors properly, so they reached an agreement that they would receive only a percentage of the proceeds. But the film was a huge success, grossing almost $217 million, which brought the actors very good money. The hilarious duo of DeVito and Schwarzenegger playing completely different twins were so convincing that Arnold still calls it the best film of his career and has always campaigned for a sequel called Triplets. Unfortunately, so far these plans have not come true, but fans don't lose hope. For example, last year it was reported that the script for the film has already been written. Filming is being prepared in Boston, and Tracy Morgan will become the third brother. After the comedies The War of the Roses and Other People's Money, as well as the voiceover of the animated series The Simpsons, in 1992, the actor appeared in the superhero action movie Batman Returns, directed by Tim Burton. DeVito played one of the main roles in the film, turning into an absolutely infernal villain, the Penguin. Initially, Dustin Hoffman was invited to play the main antagonist, but the actor refused for some reason, and further casting gathered a whole bunch of stars. Among many, Marlon Brando, Rowan Atkinson, and Joe Pesci were considered. The final choice was made by Jack Nicholson, who offered to give the job to Danny DeVito. And so began the long hours of rehearsals, development, and application of stage makeup, which was virtually a work of art. Since Burton was given complete freedom to make changes to the script and characters, the appearance of the movie Penguin differs from the original version in the comic books. DeVito's character is emphatically noirish, wears long curly hair, and is mostly dressed in a black frock coat and white jabot. The creation of his character was surrounded by such secrecy that Danny was contractually forbidden to talk about the details of preparation, even with his family. When the photo of the makeup process got into the press, Warner Bros. Initiated an investigation and hired private detectives for this. However, its results were not made public. The movie ended up having very decent box office receipts, which exceeded $250 million, and garnered many prestigious nominations, including Academy Awards, BAFTA, and Saturn.
I've been down here too long. It's time for me to ascend, to re-emerge. With your help, your know-how, your savvy.
Then the movies Hoffa, Jack the Bear, Renaissance Man, Felony, and Get Shorty were released.
Oh, not bad. Not bad. No wonder you're Martin Weir.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I think of you. Nothing.
I believe it. I believe it.
In addition, Danny's voice was heard in the romantic comedy Look Who's Talking Now. The actor also reunited with Arnold Schwarzenegger in the comedy Junior and participated in the creation of Quentin Tarantino's cult film Pulp Fiction as a producer. In 1996, the actor worked with Tim Burton again, appearing in the science fiction film Mars Attacks, featuring elements of dark humor and political satire. In the next film, Matilda, DeVito acted as a director and also co-starred with his wife Rhea and received a $5 million fee. On the set, the couple became very close to the main actress, 9-year-old Mara Wilson. During the filming, her mother died of cancer. It was very difficult for the girl, and DeVito and his wife tried to support her. Mara regretted that her mother never saw the film, but Danny told the child that he had managed to show the woman the unedited version of the film before her tragic death.
I say appearance is 9/10 of the law. People don't buy a car, they buy me, which is why I personally take such pride in my appearance. Well-oiled hair, clean shave, snappy suit. Now run along, get ready for a big day of learning, kid.
Danny DeVito's next acting works include LA Confidential, The Rainmaker, Man on the Moon, The Virgin Suicides, The Big Kahuna, Big Fish. In many films, he was not only an actor, but also a producer. He directed the 2003 black comedy Duplex, starring Ben Stiller and Drew Barrymore. A year later, he appeared in the legendary TV series Friends, where he hilariously portrayed a stripper. In the aughts, the actor starred in a lot of films and on television, for example, in the comedy Be Cool, the crime drama Even Money, and the TV series It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which featured his character until 2021.
It's a lucky thing I had my pieces.
Your pieces?
My guns.
Oh.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang!
Wow.
Bang! Well, I don't see so good, so I missed. Then they ran away. I ran after them.
In 2012, DeVito took part in the animated project The Lorax, voicing the forest spirit. The twist was that Danny voiced his character in several languages, including German, Italian, and Spanish. Next, he participated in the cartoon Animal Crackers and the movie Dumbo. While he rocked away on the set and in the recording studio, his personal life was bursting at the seams. Rumors about the affairs of her temperamental spouse reached Rhea's ears. Danny was always popular among the ladies and was surrounded by young, beautiful actresses. But since there was no evidence of infidelity, the woman just kept on going. But even this heavenly patience came to an end. In 2012, the couple announced their separation via the media. After a while, however, they reunited, but not for long. In November 2016, Perlman officially filed for divorce. The divorce process has been going on for more than a year and will cost the actor tens of millions of dollars, according to media reports. The reason was Danny's romantic relationship with a charming blonde, the director of one of the film festivals, Sandra Sealing-Lipsky. Danny and Rhea separated and sold the family mansion in Beverly Hills in April 2015. It was reported that the couple have sold the house for $28 million, although initially the price was $6 million higher. The luxurious residence with a swimming pool in the backyard has been significantly remodeled by the new owners and recently passed into the hands of Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. The fate of the other joint property is not yet known. Rhea and Danny are co-owners of a very nice house on the coast in Malibu. The house lacks gold and stucco, and the interior is distinguished by simplicity and lightness. All rooms are furnished with great taste and just saturated with the idea of coziness and harmony. There is a lot of light in the rooms. Light tones prevail with bright accents in the form of accessories and home textiles. The work involved skilled craftsmen in stone and wood, and the used finishing materials were not brought from afar, giving preference to local production. The actor is very concerned about the environment and tries to take care of it. He was one of the first in Hollywood to buy an eco-friendly car. In 1996, he acquired a General Motors EV1 and later owned a Toyota Prius. In addition to eco-cars in the garage, the star has an executive Cadillac Eldorado, as well as a Nissan Leaf worth $26,000 and a Range Rover bought for $82,000. To date, Danny DeVito's net worth is estimated at $80 million. In addition to income from filming and producing, he often appears in advertising campaigns. So, in 2006, the Nespresso coffee brand invited him to co-star with its ambassador, George Clooney, resulting in a very vibrant video. DeVito advertised M&M's, Lipton tea, and even an accounting application. DeVito's assets include production companies and the football team of his hometown, Neptune Angels. He invests in the restaurant business and owns several establishments in Florida and California. In addition, the actor owns a company that produces limoncello, an Italian liquor. It is claimed that the drink is made exclusively from lemons grown in the city of Sorrento. DeVito is generally very selective in everything that concerns nutrition. In particular, he doesn't eat meat and junk food. He didn't make an exception even on the set. During the filming of the movie Other People's Money, where he had to eat donuts, they were made without fat and sugar, especially for him. Danny DeVito is praised by critics and experts. In 2011, he received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In the last few years, he has appeared in his friend Michael Douglas's series The Kominsky Method and Jumanji: The Next Level, sports drama The Survivor, and also voiced several cartoons. Recently, he flashed a new facet of his talent by writing a 12-page story centered on the Penguin and Catwoman for the anthology comic Gotham City Villains. On March 6, the premiere of the series History of the World Part 2 took place, where Danny DeVito also took part. And in July of this year, the actor will appear in the supernatural horror comedy Haunted Mansion. Fans idolize him, and 50,000 of them even signed a petition for the actor to play Wolverine in the next Marvel films. Which role would you like to see him in?
You guys all think I'm a hero, and I'll accept that responsibility.
If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything interesting.